Well, hello and welcome to this video, how to find and speak to your ideal art buyer, even if you're just starting out. So here's what I'm going to be covering: finding that ideal audience, defining that perfect fit art collector, or what I call an ICA, ideal customer avatar, and then communicating to them in a way that actually leads to sales. And don't worry, this is for you even if you're just starting out and you haven't sold a single piece yet. All right, let's dive on in. So number one, finding that target audience. So first up, how do you find an audience if you've never made a sale? This is a question I get asked a lot. But here's the good news. You don't need hundreds of buyers or followers or any of that just to get started. But what you do need are two things: curiosity and observation. So start by noticing who naturally responds to your work. Now, initially it might be friends, it might be family, or it might be strangers who've stopped and looked at your work. Maybe you're at a fair or a market or your very first group exhibition. You want to start asking yourself, who lights up when they see your work? So this is where you're going to use some observation and that curiosity. Pay attention to the themes and the feelings in your art. Is it calming what you're producing? Is it bold, vibrant? Is it joyful? Is it emotional? These qualities hint at the kind of person who are going to resonate with it. Imagine your art hanging somewhere. This is something I love to do, right? Picture it in a space. Maybe it's a modern apartment, maybe it's in, a cozy reading nook or a creative studio. And now ask, who lives there? What sort of person lives in your modern apartment, in that cozy reading nook, or in that creative studio? So what kind of person chooses art like yours? Look at similar artists. Look at what we might call your competition. Who follows them, right? Who buys from them? And you're not doing this to copy, you're just doing this to research. So you might, for example, find them on Instagram, have a look at who likes, who comments, and then go and look at that profile. Well, who are they? What sort of person? What are they posting? Where do they live? How old are they? What else do they like? So this is just about your researching, okay? And you can copy that information, put it on a spreadsheet, put it on a note, you can write it in a notebook, whatever you need to do to record that so you can start seeing some similarities. Create for someone specific. And this is really important. Think of one person you'd love to create for. Maybe it's a busy professional who craves some beauty and calm, or a design lover decorating their dream home. Right? Start making work with that person in mind. And again, this is all part of testing and learning. Your audience reveals itself over time. When I very first started out, I put work out and I watched people. Did they like it? Did they walk past? Were there any paintings they just walked straight past and weren't even looking? What sort of person was engaging? What person was sort of talking? And I think unconsciously at that point, I just began to develop and understand, and I could see, oh, that's my audience over there when I was at an art fair. I don't think I ever consciously wrote it down, but I did do an awful lot of observation in those early days. Okay, number two, let's define your ideal collector. Now you do want to get really, really clear on who they are, not just age and income, but lifestyle, values, and what they're looking for. Right now I do have my ICA worksheet. If you haven't done that before, it's really comprehensive. I'll put a link up here, and I'll also drop a link below this video so you can grab that free resource. It's got many pages, it goes through all different areas. And again, you can use your observation now, having looked at people that might be your audience, and you can use that to start filling in the ideal customer avatar worksheet. But for example, I love to give them a name and a personality. So Serena, 42, lives in a coastal home by the beach. She values sustainability, loves to shop local, and really decorates her place intentionally. Think about their lifestyle. Are they a busy professional? Are they empty nesters, creatives? What kind of content, events, or spaces are they already drawn to? Clarify what your art actually gives them. Does it Does your work bring them that calm? Does it spark joy in their life? Does it tell a story they resonate with? Or does it offer a daily moment of beauty, something they can walk past in the living room and just go, that's just so beautiful, I love having that there. Your art solves a feeling problem, and that's powerful, right? So this is really just the foundation. When you know specifically who you're talking to, everything gets easier. Now, if you watch my previous video, which is quite lengthy, but it's me going through my business plan at this stage, I actually give a little example where I've written a little avatar for somebody, for an ideal client for me, and I've just written that kind of paragraph and I've read that out. So if you haven't watched that already, I'll drop a link to that below this video. So this is really, really important. And from there, I speak about you find clues. When you actually create that profile of who you're directly making your art for, that helps you with marketing and sales, because you'll know if they're that coastal person, if they love sustainability, if they shop locally, you can speak to that. All right, you can communicate directly to that person using the language that, well, we're going to come on to that. But anyway, communicate with them. That leads me. What a great segue, Sophie. All right, number 3, communicate clearly with them. So now you know who they are. How do you actually reach them? This is where a lot of artists get stuck. But it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be pushy. So first off, you want to speak their language. Don't use fancy art speak, all right? I've seen it a lot in emails where the artist is writing maybe about technique, or they're writing about materials and they're using art speak. We all know how that goes. But that's not going to resonate with the audience. The audience is going to go, I don't know what you're talking about, and that's going to turn them right off. Use phrases and ideas they'll actually relate to. Instead of mixed media abstraction, say a piece that brings you calm and energy to your space. So just think about the language that you're using and take it away from yourself, right? It's very easy for us to just, write in our own language, write in our own way of speaking, but we have to really keep in mind that ideal person. How do I communicate with Serena, right? She lives on the coast. How am I actually going to speak to what's important to her? You can use stories. The stories are the most powerful tool you have in communication as an artist, right? Why did you create the piece? What inspired it? What materials did you choose? Why? People connect to stories more than they connect to technique. Some people are vaguely interested. Oh, how you did that, that's interesting. But actually, if you can speak to why you've created the piece in the first place, what is it that actually spoke to you? That's where you're going to connect with that person, right? That's where that person is going to go, oh my God, I absolutely resonate 100% with what you're saying about your art. And they are your ideal customer. And somebody who might, if you did a little video, for example, where you tell a story about a piece, and people are going to resonate with that, they're your ideal people. People are going to watch the video and go, oh, I don't understand, that's not for me, right? They're not your people. And that's great, right? We need to have that, what we used to call in the UK, the Marmite effect. You love it or you hate it. You need those people who are going to love what you're talking about. They're like, oh my God, that's me, that's me, that's me. And the people that are like, well, I don't know what that's all about, then let them go and buy somebody else's work. Now, obviously, I talk about email marketing all the time. The one thing you need to do right from the get-go is get your email list up and running. So here is the perfect way to communicate them. Email is the easiest way. So honestly, it's a personal, it's direct, it doesn't rely on algorithms, right? You can share new work, behind the scenes, even just something that's beautiful, that's inspired you. And of course, you can tell a story about a finished piece as well. And so remember, this is where the writing is important. You are writing to Serena, or whoever your Serena is, right? You're not writing for yourself. You're not writing because Sophie says you need to send an email every week. No, you're really writing to what is going to speak directly to that person. Start a VIP collectors list, right? Invite your most engaged followers or your early supporters. In my day, it was my friends. They came to the first exhibitions. Some people started to buy things. They went on my VIP list. And in those days, there was no email marketing. It all got typed up, right? Mail merge, who remembers that? Oh my God, what a night. Onto the envelope. In the early days, it would go on a sticker, and the sticker would go on the envelope, and the letter would go inside, and the invite to the next exhibition. But I started that VIP list with people who took an interest, who bought a few things, who showed up to shows, and then eventually it became people who actually just collected the work, right? But start it now. Start it now, and you have people that you can invite to special viewings, right? Make them feel seen, make them feel valued. Now, I still think in this day of email and social media, if you can entice an address out of them, even better, you can mail them a beautiful invitation to something, or you can just send them a beautiful letter. I mean, who doesn't just love to get a letter, right? Even if you handwrite it and you photocopy it and send it out to them. I mean, I just think that would stand out. You would stand out. Anyway, topic for another day. So personal touches build loyalty and deepen a relationship, right? It might seem a little old-fashioned, but I can tell you it definitely works. So record short videos, voice notes. They don't have to be public. You could send a little video tour of your new series, for example, behind the scenes in the studio, hasn't gone out at all anywhere, or a private link to a collection. So let this VIP list see and hear you. You could just record them a short little video on your phone, and you could send it just out to that special VIP list rather than your general list. Now you might just laugh and say, Sophie, I've got 5 people on my VIP list and 20 on my mailing list. They don't know that, right? I don't care whether you've got 2 people on your VIP list and 10 people on your general mailing list. You treat that as if you've got 10,000 on the general list and 1,000 on the VIP list. Everybody deserves to be seen and heard, right? And that is how you're going to build that connection. Writing helpful blog posts can be great as well. For someone who's perhaps more on the outside, they haven't yet bought something, they really like what you're doing, but they want to find out a bit more about you. They want to find other places, other touch points they can connect with you. You could write a blog, even, I don't know, something like how to choose art that fits in your space. And you write it again to your ideal client, right? You write it as if you're writing it for them. So what's going to be the ideal space, everyone? Have you all been listening? This is the test. You can write in the comments below, what would be the ideal space now that we'd be writing this blog article about? Hint, it's coastal, right? So when you write a blog like that, it gives them something a bit lengthier to read, and they go, oh wow, okay, now I'm going to have a look at what's for sale on the rest of the website, because you're sending them to the website where the blog is, and now you can entice them to have a look at the work that's for sale. Now they've already been sucked in at that point. If they haven't already, they are going to join the mailing list because they want to hear more from you. So you want to connect emotionally and position yourself as the expert in your niche, whatever that niche is. You could also partner with aligned businesses or people, think like interior designers, local boutiques, other creatives whose client would love your work too. Then you might even just set up some sort of JV partnership, like with an interior designer, for example. And again, everything you write, everything you send that person, you're speaking to Serena, your version of Serena. Why not offer small private viewings or virtual tours of your studio, right? Just for the VIP list. How special would they feel if you did that? It makes buying art a more personal experience. Offer them a glass of wine or a glass of whatever, floats your boat, so they can stand and chat with you. So it's not just about a transaction, it's actually meeting the artist in the artist environment. Now I remember when I started doing regularly open studios, and some of my very first collectors, they'd hung back and there was wine around, they'd have a glass of wine, and they just wanted to hang and chat with me. They wanted to get to know me and feel closer. They used to show up first people through the door and buy every time I had a new collection. So it might seem like something you think, oh, I don't really want to do that, I don't know what to say. Well, you do, just communicate to them. And again, when you're chatting to them in a studio visit, avoid the art speak, because then you're going to alienate them, right? They're going to leave. Really listen to them, observe, ask them open questions. So what do they really like? What lights you up? Have you got favorite colors, and how do they make you feel? You can get some really valuable information from all of that as well. So these are all ways that to show up in your ideal collector's world consistently, kindly, thoughtfully, and of course, authentically. So there you have it. Finding, defining, and connecting with your target audience and your ideal customer. You don't need to shout louder, you just need to speak clearly to the right people and invite them into your creative world. So if this was helpful, I'd love you to hit the like button. And if you're not already, make sure that you're subscribed for more practical, honest art business advice without the hustle. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.